Somehow, some way, this turns out to be episode 50 of Beauty Sports, and we're going to have some beers to cheers it. Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Beauties.
Doesn't matter if you got Coors, Busch, Bud Light, or a local shop's IPA. All beers are welcome at Beers and Beauties, baby. Let's go.
Okay, buddy. It's been a minute since we've sat at the desk together.
She been a minute.
This is a 3-episode gap.
Happy to see your face. Cheers.
My friend.
Oh my gosh, what a tour.
I know, yeah.
What a tour we've been on.
Yeah, very cool that we learned that we can take the pod on the road in this province because we tested a little bit on the road.
That's right.
But first and foremost, Beers with Beauties episode, thank you to the O'Brien family for handing us their favorite beers, which just so happened to be from Morden, Manitoba. So Rendezvous Brewery and Tap Room. We are drinking. Whose favorite was this? Sean's?
Shawnee's was the milk stout.
Shawnee boy? Okay, so we're drinking the Runabout milk stout right now. A smooth, rich, roasty with a little sweetness. And then next up on tap here, in a can, is the Bloody Jack's Wit, a Belgian wit beer. Okay. This one's good.
Which is what Jamie's all about. And I'm also really enjoying the can. I'm liking the sleek black look.
Blacked out.
I'm liking it. I enjoy the presence of it. I think it's a cool looking beer.
Yeah. So if anyone's in the Morden area, or if you want to check it out online, rendezvousbrew.ca. Interesting here, it says brewed and packaged at Rendezvous Brewing Limited, the historical printery in downtown Morden, Manitoba.
Printery.
I got to check that out.
We're going.
I was just cruise through.
We can.
Morden, quite honestly. I go to the rink, the gas station, or Tim's.
Yeah, that's right.
And the rest of it is just a wave.
The three hot spots.
Yeah. So now I will make sure to stop at Rendezvous Brewery.
The one and only hot spot now to us.
Guess
and
so.
Especially because we know, and we feel a lot better taking all this equipment on the road. Maybe we go hang out at Rendezvous.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we could go record an episode there sometime.
Talk sports in a bar.
Yeah. Yeah. And we, you can't see it on camera today. And obviously you can't see it if this is a podcast in your ears, but we also added a beer fridge, so the beer is much colder than it historically has been when we bring beers here.
What a surprise today. Yeah. I felt like I hadn't seen you in so long, and I was excited to get back to the Beauty Sports desk. Yeah. And you double down, and you get a beer fridge. Let's go.
I know, finally. It took us 50 episodes, but it seemed like the right time.
It took us 50 weeks, but we got her done.
Yeah, it took us 50 weeks, and it's full, which is nice. Part of the motivation for me, too, was, it was very annoying in our main story, main fridge.
Yeah.
To have to dig around through the random beers because Addie showed up at my house one day with a bucket. It's beside the fridge. It's a large bucket, like a wash basin. You could wash a baby in there.
What a reference. Yep, you could
is
definitely
large enough for that.
It's one of those ones you look at and you're like, yeah, I could wash a baby.
Yeah. So she showed up one day with, I'm pretty sure, every beer in your fridge. You just had a bad day.
I just had a moment.
Yeah, and you're like, get this out of my house, bring it here. And then, so we had this random array of beer, but then we lost an entire shelf of our fridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I needed room for broccoli and things like that. So the beer fridge made sense.
It did make sense, and I appreciate you supporting me that day because
I didn't ask any questions.
Just came in hot with about 35, 40 beers and said, well, here you go.
Here you go. No explanation. There are 2 bins, actually. There was more than one baby washing bin.
Oh, my God.
Full of beer.
If this is your first episode to Beauty Sports.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think too, super appreciative that people are thinking about us and the show and what we're drinking.
I agree.
Pizza Review, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
It's like what Dave Portnoy. Yeah. It's like I'm kind of feeling we could start reviewing a couple local beers, and this is fantastic.
These are quite good. Addie was slightly nervous, I think, of the word stout. And I said, I think my exact words to you were, it's okay. It's an easy Guinness. Mm-hmm. And it's got a flair of coffee, so you'll like it.
Girl, don't worry. She gonna flow. She gonna flow easy. Don't you worry about it. It's got a little coffee flavor, which I'm addicted to coffee. Yeah, so then I felt right at home.
So it works. Yeah, no, you are right. If this is your first episode here, welcome.
Welcome. We're happy to have you.
You're in for a treat. There are 49 episodes previous to this one that you can go and fill your ears with, and there will be lots more to come. If you are new here, my name is Cowie. beside me is my lovely friend Addie. And yeah, every once in a while we sip some beers and talk sports. And so that's what we're going to do here today. If you like this episode, make sure to head on over and give us a 5 stars only rate and review on the podcast. That's the best way to share this thing and get it out in the world. And then come find us on Instagram at Beauty Sports Talk, because that's where we are the most active. If you want to interact with Addie, it's at Addie Miles Abbott and me at Cowie14. But we're glad you're here.
Absolutely glad that you are here. And so when we talk about, well, we've got the beer fridge is full. I'm trying to wheel this around to how big do you think the Portland Thorns beer fridge was?
Oh, yeah.
The other night.
It had to be big enough for the champagne bottles.
Oh, baby. Portland takes the NWSL championship in style,
in
ladies and
fashion.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. What a performance. And Kansas City, that's no layup team. Like that is a phenomenal soccer club.
Yeah, and what a way to rebound from a year last year. Well, that didn't go well at all. Bottom of the barrel. And, going into the playoffs here in 5th and clawing their way and doing it in, a very different way, obviously, than Portland played, and in a very defensive-minded team that basically buried every opportunity that they had.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Had every chance to win in that finals. But I will say that they were definitely in that final outclassed by Portland in almost all facets of the game.
I agree, because when I saw the way that Kansas played against Seattle, I was like, they're on a high. Mm-hmm. Like they are going to be, and they were, like, don't get me wrong, they were incredible, but there was just this different level that Portland had in that game that you just can't, you kind of just knew that it was going to happen. And to go back to your point too on Kansas City, like, with what an amazing thing that they've done with the ownership of Kansas City, and look at the direct result of when your players feel like you support them.
Oh yeah.
The nicest facility, like the classy, like that is when you feel like you've made it to that next level in soccer, but they got that facility, and going from bottom to the championship game, I think, is a direct result of the fact that they felt seen and supported regardless of where they went. They are the best soccer club, and they were going to support their athletes the best way. And I was like, that was so cool. That was so cool to see.
It was cool too. So for those of you who have listened to most of the episodes, or if you've got a local flair for the local, you might have tuned into the episode with Carly Colpitz. And Carly and Desiree Scott are best buddies. And I thought that was a really classy move on their behalf. They flew her and a buddy down to the semifinal game against San Diego. So they got to go and watch. And I said to her, I messaged her and said, next time I would take the invite. I said, I'd even fly myself.
Yeah.
You can use your free ticket with someone who loves and knows Desiree really well. But I would join. I just think that speaks to what you're saying in terms of like creating that atmosphere with their club.
Oh, for sure.
And bringing the people that, their players love down to support them through that semifinal game. That was huge.
So hang on. They flew them, because I'm like, what a friend, Carly. Like, she is just arguably the best DJ in this city.
Agreed. Yeah.
K-Ched. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. And I thought she just took the weekend off and went and flew to support. And
they skedaddled her down there.
Holy moly, what? That is so cool. Incredible. I did not know that. Yeah. I did not know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think
classy.
Yeah, exactly, right? That just speaks to that club and how committed they were to their players and the atmosphere they're creating and the support that they needed to get them to where they got to.
Absolutely. And they're going to be dialed for next season, no question about it.
Yeah. It was, I really did. And we've talked a lot about accessibility on this podcast before, but that was like Twitch made it easy. I really enjoyed that. And one thing that they do really well on Twitch too is like it doesn't feel bush. Like, yeah. Right?
Yep, that's right.
It feels very professional when you watch that Twitch stream. I do wish that the one thing that they do miss is the halftime, the commercial break interactions.
Oh, I know.
Where I'm like,
because they just have that logo spinning instead of.
I used to think that commercials were annoying or those gaps were annoying until you're just staring at nothing. Yeah. And you're like, well, shit, fill my ears with something.
Yep. Get somebody in the stands that's had a couple drinks answering or trivia. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Or trivia. Like even at the celebration and things, or like the halftime coaches bit. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, where are you at? Where do you feel your game? Yeah. So that's the only part, but it was really fun to be able to watch that.
Yeah, for sure. And secondary question to the beer fridge is, do you think Sophia Smith's beer fridge was bigger than the rest?
Yeah, man, she just so she was voted MVP of the league, and then she also was the MVP of the finals match. So she had more hardware to go there. She scored the first goal in the finals for Portland. I don't remember if she had both or if someone else got the second one, but she is very much a force on that field that there's a reason she's the MVP. So she didn't lead. So Alex Morgan got the golden boot on the year, but I think Sophia Smith, they said, had 14 goals through the season.
Yeah. And San Diego won manager of the year too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool to see. Yeah. But like you talk about interactions and how special it is for people to see and be a part of like the experience a bit more than, just watching the game. Cause like when her dad was hugging her, I was bawling. He's like, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, me too.
Yeah,
like,
I know, right?
When you see the true raw emotion of athletes after a championship game, win or loss, there's no way you could not feel more connected to them and the sport and the league.
Yeah.
Like as much as, some of those women probably don't want to be in the spotlight as much as others. Like it's still, it does so much to the league for people to get to know you. Right?
Huge.
And for that moment to be shared between her and her dad, I'm like, I'm kind of a forever fan now. Like you could just see it's been this whole family thing forever, right?
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun to watch. There's it's funny because it kind of feels like there's a lot of things that are wrapping up, right? Like we've got WTA finals that are starting up tomorrow. So today is October 30th as we record this. This will hit your ears on November 1st, but the WTA finals start tomorrow, Halloween. And it kind of feels like things are wrapping up, like NWSL is now wrapped up. WNBA obviously is wrapped up. Hockey season is just getting going. So we had the PWHPA had their first showcase, which again, if we want to talk about accessibility, CBC, man, made that seamless.
Yeah. Couldn't have been better. That so was easy. Awesome.
I know
that was awesome.
I posted on my Instagram. I was doing some schoolwork and I have two screens at my computer. And so on the one screen, I watched hockey. Yes. And on the second screen, I was working on schoolwork. But I really enjoyed that because you could find it from your phone. It was available on CBC Gem. It was available on CBC Sports YouTube page. It was everywhere and it was very easy to find.
Yeah.
And globally, right? There was no border of a boundary that was this invisible
watch
border.
Hockey.
Yeah, watch hockey from wherever you are.
That was, I completely agree. So there's been so much. I feel like every time I open my phone, PWHPA is announcing a new partnership or sponsor.
Oh man, and they have been absolutely slaying in the partnership lately.
Oh, it's crazy.
CCM, yeah.
So Scotiabank, Harvey's, Adidas, Sonnet, just absolute stacked rosters.
Yeah.
Because it was funny, I was talking to somebody about it and they're like, well, what one would you pick? And I was like, well, I obviously kind of lean towards Scotiabank because I kind of connect that one to Calgary and I feel like that one's the most whatever. But then I look at Team Harvey's and I was like, well, shit.
Then you look at Team
Sonnet and I'm like, well, and then Adidas and then you honestly, it's you this is where they need to really narrow in and make it, okay, so you're on Team Scotiabank, Harvey's, Adidas, Sonnet, whatever. They are so stacked they should just be following these players and doing as much so you get to know them personally, because it's going to be I love the Detroit Red Wings because of Steve Yzerman.
Yeah. Yep.
And he took one stride over that blue line, went top cheese, and I was sold for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
It's like, you connect with players, and then that's why. So I was like, but then who's my favorite player? Like, I went through this whole dilemma all night of like, I can't pick between Poulin and Knight.
Yeah, I know. Right?
How do you do that?
That was the thing. So for those of you, if you're not familiar with PWHPA is Professional Women's Hockey Player Association that was formed after the CWHL folded. They're a group of women that are working together with lots of partners and people that are supporting them in their goal of creating a sustainable professional women's hockey league. And so last season with the Olympics, we missed having the Olympians inside of the PWHPA.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad hockey. It was exceptional hockey last year, but it's just that next level this year when you watch. And how fun, because they don't have that same regionality. So if you looked at last year, they had Bauer was
That's right.
in Minnesota. They had them coined as regions.
Yeah.
Sonnet was Toronto, Harvey's was Montreal, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And now that's gone.
Right.
So these players will train within their own region and then they come together for these showcases. And that I think is so fun to see, because losing the regionality really shook up the rosters.
Oh, and it allows for more, I don't want to say depth, but it allows for a lot more creativity within a roster.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. And because you can see now, and every sports fan in the world knows about the rivalry between Canada and USA. Now they're all playing together.
Yeah.
So it's it is freaking fascinating.
And it finally feels like what we've come to know of the NHL. Right? Where when you go to the Olympics, you play for your country. And then when you come back, you play with the best players in the world on your own teams.
That's right.
Wherever that lands you. And so, it was really fun to watch. Their next stop is in Truro, Nova Scotia. They're back there in Truro, and then they head down to Pittsburgh. And so it's called the Secret Dream Gap Tour. But I would encourage everybody, if you are a hockey fan, it is so easily accessible, and they are the best hockey players in the world.
Even when I'm looking at, Team Sonnet rosters right now, you've got players like Abby Rourke and Brianne Jenner
and Hannah, playing with Hillary Knight.
Who are playing with Hillary Knight.
I know when you put put Jenner, who was the leading point scorer in the Olympics, is now on a line with Hillary Knight, who is the U.S. all-time leading scorer at the Olympics or whatever. Worlds, whatever it was.
Absolutely.
What?
What is happening? What is happening right now? I know. It is very cool in how they have done this, and the camaraderie piece of them all showing up and then being on the same team together, I think is fascinating. I think it shows a lot of unity, in a world where division seems to be the only way. I feel like this is showing a lot of unity to be we are just going to put the best teams forth on the ice and absolutely go for it. And so fun fact here, on Team Sonnet, Carolyn Prevost, just a quick little, CrossFit athlete too.
I know.
Right? I think she's a teacher too. So if you think you're busy,
and you
talk to Carolyn Prevost.
That is the cool thing about women's sports when you follow it. Not to jump back here to soccer, but you look at the Portland Thorns, and Crystal Dunn had a baby in May, and she scored the winning goal in the semifinals to get them into the finals, and came in, subbed off Christine Sinclair. In the finals, and had a baby in May. And I did also, this is kind of sidebar, but I really liked how they said not everyone's going to come back in 5 months either, and that's okay too.
Yeah,
but
that's fair. Yeah,
we do need to recognize the fact that she had a baby 5 months ago, and she is competing at back at that level and scoring goals and
right back in it.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. That is
So
amazing.
yeah, CrossFit athletes and
Just jacked.
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, the other thing too, if you are looking for more information on the PWHPA, our good friend Liz Knox and Carol Amard, who Carol plays in the PWHPA for Team Harvey's, they have a podcast with SDPN called the Noxie and Cax Show, and it is in partnership with PWHPA, and they are back for season 2 of their podcast where they sit down and talk to athletes that are playing within the PWHPA. It is a great place to get to know these ladies so that they become, name stays at your dinner table.
That's right. And it talks to exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
They interview these women on more of a personal level, talk to them about not only their competitive careers, but their personal life and all these other things. So you get to know them, which is exactly what they need. And those two are complete professionals.
Yeah.
They are awesome. So
Yeah, they look like, honestly, they would challenge us in the fun scale.
we're going to have to Beers with Beauties episode.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Noxie and Cax Show.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. I was when they said that they were coming back, I was like,
Finally.
been waiting.
I know.
I love it.
Beach for the summer. We need to take notes from them and do that next summer. Maybe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So who do we, if you had to, going into Nova Scotia, do you have a favorite between the 4? Like, do you think that there was one team that stood out to you over this last one, or?
Yeah, you know what? I think that we have to expect some redemption here from Team Harvey's. They kind of came out on the short end of the Montreal showcase. They only left with 1 point. And when you look at the firepower that they have on that team, I think I'm going to just go with the fact that we're going to see a rebound of Team Harvey's in Truro.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to say. Like, the goaltending is exceptional. So you get, one big robbery save that turns the tables. They're all tight games. Like, it's anyone's best guess of who's going to come out on top.
Yeah, because the big thing for me on this last one was Rebecca Johnson came out ready to frickin' play. Holy moly.
She did, yeah.
So she really dominated that entire showcase in Montreal. But I agree with you. I think Harvey needs a big weekend or a big showcase. I think it'd be super fun to see them do really well.
Yeah, and I do shout out to the PWHPA because after week 1, they posted about it to tell us who was in the lead of the showcase. Because there is, at the end of all of these, there is a winner of the Secret Dream Gap Tour, and that was one of our points of contention last year, is that it was like, you don't talk about it enough.
We need to know.
Yeah, so they made that very evident right off the hop.
Very true. So that'll be awesome to watch. Now, if we're heading over to the PHF, there's been a lot going on. A cancellation game due to a severe incident. They haven't talked about it yet with Toronto versus Montreal Force. So that'll get rescheduled. Sammy Joe Small.
Yeah.
Every time that I think something's going on, I just am like, Sammy Joe Small's going to be there.
Yeah.
Sammy.
Yeah.
She'll be there. So she has been announced as the president of the Toronto Six organization.
Yeah.
Congrats, Sammy.
Yeah, agreed.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and to have, again, just continued of strong female leadership and with a ton of personal experience in the sport, I think is always awesome. PHF is off to a slow start in terms of what I would call the regular time that hockey usually begins. Because it's still not started.
Because we wait. So funny.
There's no better way to say that than
in
that.
the normal way the league starts.
Because they don't kick off until I think it's the 6th of November, right? Or 5th or 6th, somewhere in there. So off to a little bit of a slower start than I would normally have anticipated for a hockey season. But they've been playing a slew of exhibition, preseason games with each other and with some NCAA teams and things like that. So hopefully the hockey is top notch by the time they
hit
drops.
The ice.
Yeah.
Beginning of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is one of the things you think about when it comes to November, because even when I was, following the signings and stuff like that, because Boston Pride, I was like, okay, guys, you need a couple people.
Are you in the league?
Hey, let's go here.
Yeah.
I'm worried about your signings, Boston, right? And it's like, I kind of didn't understand why it takes so long, but there's clearly got to be something behind the scenes going with it and with a delay. But I'm so excited to see this Force team.
I know you are.
I've talked about it numerous times, and then even with Rob in the last episode, I brought them up too, because I think that they're going to be phenomenal. They're going to be so good.
Well,
I
and
can't
they're going
wait.
to look sick, and they're honestly, for women's hockey, probably one of, if not the best, most well-supported female hockey hubs in this country, in Montreal.
I think so too.
So I think it'll be a really cool place for a team. Their logo just looks sick, so I'm so excited to see what that turns out looking like on the ice when we get to watch it.
Yeah, and like to go back to what you're saying, like if you think about the hockey culture in Montreal.
Yeah,
I went and played. We were playing Concordia one time, and no word of a lie, we go to Boston Pizza at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And
you're in
Montreal.
Yeah, I'm just gonna rewind to the fact that you chose Boston Pizza.
I know.
Which is like, you can go to Verdun and get that.
I know. This is one of those times where you get on the bus.
Anyways,
and
Boston
you just
Pizza.
get off the bus and you just go and eat Boston Pizza like every other team.
Pizza.
So we're sitting at Boston Pizza. All of a sudden, alarms, sirens, things start going off. I think it's a fire alarm. I'm getting the hell out of there.
Habs scored.
Yeah. Grandma and Grandpa Jane and Joe could be sitting there. They don't care. The place erupts in the restaurant, in the bar, in the bathroom. Sirens are everywhere. And I'm like,
5-alarm fire. No, just a Habs goal.
She's like, where were we going? And I'm like, well, you have a fire in your kitchen. I'm like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And they're like, the Habs scored. Yeah. I'm like, this is nuts. They had a DJ. So I'm like, if there is one place that knows how to show up for hockey, it's Montreal.
It's so true. So yeah, I'm very excited for them to get moving. Like, I'm excited to get watching some PHF and see what it's like this year, because there has been we talked about, there's been a significant shift of players who were playing as part of the PWHPA, and this is also part of the dynamic now, because last year there was no Olympians. There was more room, let's call it.
Yeah.
In the PWHPA. The PWHPA is 100 of the best players. Mm-hmm. That is it, 100. Mm-hmm. And if you're not in that top 100, you're not in the PWHPA.
Yeah.
So we've seen this move of people and players from the PWHPA to the PHF for a variety of reasons, personal beliefs, the fact that they want to be in this league, the fact that they weren't in the PWHPA, whatever that is. Mm-hmm. So I'm super interested, just like it was to watch the PWHPA in their first showcase, to see what it looks like, the PHF looks like this year with some of the additions that have come over.
Yeah, I agree. And I honestly wondered if that's what Boston was doing, because they defending champs, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they were, in my very taken a step back perspective, is like, they must be bartering. They must be doing something behind the scenes. Bartering.
Like it's for a blanket in Mexico. I will not pay 50 pesos.
That's right.
This is for my Mai Tai.
Are there Mai Tais in my contract? How many Mai Tais do I get?
Yeah, no, it was weird though, because we had talked about that on one of the episodes. Of like, man, they haven't signed anybody. And then all of a sudden it was like 15.
And then it kept reposting and reposting and reposting. It's like, you're posting that you're not signing anybody, and it's driving me insane, because I know people in Boston. I want to see if they sign again, right? So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think...
so when is their first actual... What we talked about this in another episode, but let's talk about it again. What is their first actual league game of the PHF?
So it It was the Toronto Six and the Minnesota Whitecaps on November 5th.
Okay.
That has been canceled and rescheduled due to a loss.
Yep.
And so the first game will be November 5th between the Whale and Pride and the Force and the Beauties.
Okay.
On November 5th.
Does it say where we can watch it?
Watch. We're going through it in live time here.
Oh, ESPN Plus. Yeah.
ESPN Plus.
Luck.
Yeah.
So
pretend you're American.
Yeah. So I guess one of the things that for those of you who are in this country, it is hard to find some of these American games because it's on ESPN Plus, and it's very tricky to have access to that in this country. If you want to stay up to date, I would encourage you on Instagram to follow nwhl.zone. And I know it says nothing to do with BHF, but they used to be called the NWHL, and they never changed their name. So follow them.
Yeah.
That's where the most up-to-date information on the PHF exists.
Yeah. And yeah, they never changed it. I would love to know why.
There's so many
I would
things.
love to know what's going on. I wouldn't. It just is funny. I guess like I have it, I follow it, I watch it all the I literally look at it every single day, you know.
Same.
But it's always kind of just like, why didn't you do it?
Why not?
Why not?
And now's not the time. You know when was? Years ago.
When you started the PHF.
When you changed names.
Yeah.
That would have been the most ideal time.
That is absolutely wild. So we could honestly talk about hockey forever.
Yeah, we could. I want to talk about tennis. Do you want to talk about tennis? Or what do you
want to talk about tennis. I want to talk about it all.
Okay, so I'm excited about tennis because I think that the WTA does it very right when it comes to the WTA Finals. So they play all season long, and we've talked about this on previous episodes. You can go back and listen. But there's all sorts of events. WTA 500s, WTA 1000s. There's the Grand Slams, all these different things, right? And it all leads up to there's singles and doubles, 8 teams and 8 singles players that make the WTA Finals. Right now, well, when this hits your ears, they will have started yesterday. And they play off against each other for the WTA Finals Championship. And they have a purple carpet. Not the red carpet, the purple carpet, because the logo for the WTA and all the coloring.
It's purple.
I know. And so when they do, it's kind of reminded me of the WNBA draft when they because they draft, well, they don't draft, but they choose the players onto teams.
Right.
And so they have this big hurrah. These women look absolutely incredible.
Right.
In they're all in beautiful dresses. But they look just stunning on this purple carpet event, and in getting to be assigned to their teams their, I don't know what you call their side of the bracket.
Yeah. They're standing within the bracket.
Yeah. And now so essentially they play off against everyone in their group this week. And then the top 2 singles players from each group. So there's 2 groups of singles and 2 groups of doubles. And the top 2 from each of those things plays off in a sudden death, or like if you lose, single elimination semifinal match to get you into the finals for the WTA. I just think they do it so well.
This is I'm happy you brought this up, because even so they use the word final showdown.
Yes.
And I think that's absolute fire.
It's like,
I think that's the coolest. The WTA Finals Showdown.
Yeah.
I love it.
And when you can rabbit hole. So if any of you are bored and you want to look up WTA, you can rabbit hole here, because the top 8 players, like there's a lot of tennis players in the world. The 8th player who made it into the final 8 just made it in the last tournament because she won in Guadalajara, I think, or something. But when you look at Iga Swiatek, however we say her name, she has like more than 10,000, like 10,000 some points.
Yeah.
To secure her first in the WTA final standings. The 8th place person, 2,900 points. The second place person, the second in, is 4,900 and something. Go to players, go to rankings. Go scroll up. Look at that. 10,335. Sorry, we're looking on the WTA's website. And so, yeah, Iga Swiatek, Swiatek, we don't actually know how she says it, but 10,335 points in 16 matches. The next closest is Ons Jabeur at 45.55 in 17 matches. So, like, when you look at 16 matches, she won 8. She won 8 finals this year, including the U.S. Open and Roland Garros, French Open.
Yeah. You can't make that shit up.
She doubled everybody.
She dominated this year.
Absolutely
dominated
so
this year.
So then do you think she gives a shit about this? Do you think you walk into this and you're like, I already proved myself? Or do you think, because clearly Ons has to, because she lost in 2 finals. She lost in Wimbledon and the U.S. Open.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a different perspective, but I think that Iga is just a competitor. Who would want to win, but also would understand that this is the final ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done it all. Win this one, and then it's just put the crown on my head, and then everybody just watch me walk into the distance, because I was so happy to see Coco Gauff in there.
I know. So and the other
her.
part of this, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is this Iga Swiatek, Ons Jabeur, Jessica Pegula, Coco Gauff. These 2 are also a doubles pair.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm not that good at keeping up with doubles. So that is very cool.
I'm pretty sure if we go to, hang tight for those of you listening, to doubles, and we go to players. Oh.
Because I just think that,
where's the list?
And I think a couple of, I can't remember, it must have, definitely more than 3 episodes ago, we talked about, it was pretty much the year of Iga. She just could not lose.
Yeah.
Everything that she was doing was working, and she dominated every aspect of it. And so to see
when you think about 16, she was in 16 tournaments and she won 8. That's a 50% win rate.
Yeah. Which?
In singles tennis.
Yeah. That's insane. It is incredible.
Pegula. Yeah, so it's Swiatek, Jabeur, Pegula Gauff, Maria Sakkari, Caroline Garcia, Arina Sabalenka, and Daria Kasatkina. She's the one who just made it in.
Just in that last tournament.
But you see, she had to play 22 tournaments to get there.
To get there. Where she had to play 16.
Swiatek plays 16.
Wow.
Yeah, I just think they do it right, though, because
I agree.
It's the prestige of that event. So if you don't follow WTA and WTA Finals, which I also like, they have their own Instagram, kind of like the March Madness. Mm-hmm. And the pictures that they took, I was just like, this, it should be the cover of a freaking magazine if it's not already.
Yeah.
So if you're on Instagram, if you like tennis, or if you feel behind in tennis and you want to catch up in tennis, you should go do yourself a favor and follow WTA and WTA Finals, because, my God.
Yeah.
Let me show you this. Look at this picture.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable.
Incredibly good. And it's how much talent in one room.
How much? Yeah. That is
so average. When I look at that, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I am so average.
That is so funny. But you're right, though, to think about, we sit here and we, shoot the shit about sports and blah, blah. Could you imagine being able to sit and listen to them talk?
No, I just want
to listen to their conversations about being at that level and staying at that level.
Yeah.
Sabalenka has been around forever and is still coming in the top 8.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know. So I'm so excited to watch some of that. So the finals wrap up on Monday, November 7th. Mm-hmm. That's when the finals actually are. I think the semifinals are Sunday, November 6th. So you've got all week to watch tennis if you want to watch some really good tennis.
Yeah.
And tune into the WTA finals, because I will be.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny because some people have said to me, like, oh, you know everything about women's sports. I'm a sports fan. I could do the same. I could do very similar to this with men's sports. I'm a massive sports fan in general. But when you see women battling for space, when you see the WTA and the way they put this together for the finals, it just like makes my heart sing.
When you open up to get any type of information about the WTA, this is maybe one of the best ran platforms for information.
Yeah.
Like there's the countdown to the WTA, oh my God, finals. And it's right there.
I know.
You immediately know that something awesome is happening as soon as you click this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that, my friend.
I'm a bartender. There you go.
Needed a top up. What's this guy called again? Little sidebar.
Yeah.
Bloody Jack's wit.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of like taste. Well, I go there.
Let's do our beer.
Say it tastes like orange, but it says right on there, brewed with blood orange. Brewed with blood orange. It's quite good.
We should do our breakdown.
Well, you could you grab the other one of this?
Oh yes, for sure.
Yeah, so that's the last thing in my WTA I've been so excited to talk about. I know you are going to definitely want to talk about some stuff, probably with the LPGA. But one of the things, for those of you, if you were listening locally here in Winnipeg, we also have in our fridge some Good Neighbor Brewing. And I'd be interested to know if anyone went and interacted with their Halloween event, because we've got some stouts and some cherry stouts and I'm all about it, and they're in our fridge. So when this is done, we'll get to that. But if you went to Good Neighbor Brewing, or if you went to any other local brewery in Winnipeg and you're listening to this episode, I would love if you send us where we should go. What beers should we try on the next Beers with Beauties?
Oh, let's get into that. What should we try? Send us around.
Yeah.
Let's do it, because this has been... I would have never
I didn't even know this existed. So
and you've traveled.
I know. I honestly, I just wave at Morton. I just keep going. Sounds bad, but this next beer I'm trying is the Tranquilo Amigo cocktail-inspired grapefruit session IPA brewed with Campari and tequila flavors, lime, grapefruit. Okay. Well, we'll get to that. So, anyways, LPGA.
LPGA, let's go. So the BMW Ladies Championship. And our girl, Lydia Ko.
Yeah.
She pulled it out.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of the things that, like, obviously she played fantastic. All the heavy hitters were there. It was fantastic. But I was just excited to see Lydia win. Like, to put it as blunt as that, I feel that she's been such a big, like, advocate of women's golf for so long, but she's always kind of been in the distance for the last little bit, kind of hovering between that 4th, 5th, 6th spot, like always being competitive in tournaments. So BMW Ladies Championship is a huge tournament, and she pulled it out. 21 under. Love it. And
I did like listening to your episode with Rob that he can name drop Lydia Ko and lots of other female athletes. I was super proud of him for that.
Yeah. And
he is clearly just a sports fan.
And I loved the conversation too, in the sense of
market them
because people do care.
Yep.
And people at the end of the day just want to see good athleticism.
Yeah.
Regardless of gender, right? They just want to see strong athletes.
Yeah.
But that was one of the coolest parts about that episode. And I think I mentioned it, as we flip back and forth from men's to women's constantly.
I know.
And that was refreshing, right?
Totally refreshing.
You know?
Yeah, I think that there are not enough people who can do that seamlessly. And I understand that it's harder to follow women's sports. And Rob, being your father-in-law, you know, has a push, a vested interest and push to follow along. But you could just hear it in that he was just an outright fan. And so you're right, to see Lydia Ko and like 21 under, like, I just want to talk about golf for a second and the fact that
I know exactly where you're going with this.
21 under.
I know.
Pardon?
I saw a TikTok.
I'm happy to par.
I saw a TikTok and it's like there's so many funny TikToks and like reels and stuff going around or whatever, but the guy is like clearly so intense and he's lining it up and he's like his life depends on it kind of thing, and he goes and he nails it and he does the big tiger underneath and he's like, yeah, you can mark me down for a triple bogey.
It's so true.
And it's like that is more where I'm at. Mark me down, baby.
I know.
Get that snowman out.
I know, right? And it's like when my mom and I golf together, and I don't know if this is a thing for like every average golfer, but she has birdie juice in her bag, and it's whatever the cocktail of the day is. There's shot glasses. And, anyways.
I'm a big fan.
Yep. And so when you get a birdie, you get to drink some.
Yep.
But then, like, what do you do when you golf with me, who rarely gets a birdie? And I'm like, I am thirsty too.
Yeah. Got a couple.
That fireball is calling my name also.
Yeah, that's right.
That Pink Whitney looks great.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Double bogey juice in there.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So then we move on to par juice. And I was like, well, let's celebrate pars.
No, there you go.
So then we actually get to, but then your game goes worse and then it needs to be double bogey juice because now you've had par juice. Anyways, Lydia Ko.
I love it.
Sidebar.
Love it though. I love that your mom's on the side being like, no, you did not birdie that hole.
Yep.
You do not get birdie juice.
Nope.
No chance.
Nope. Not for
You compete
girl.
in this family.
Yeah. There are winners and there are losers. And right now you're a freaking loser, kid.
Tee
Get
up.
it together. Yeah, exactly.
Because like it like she dominated. Like Andrea Lee, 17 under, came in second. 21 under. She just had a great Sunday and got to be able to just
Great.
you know what I mean?
She had a great Thursday through Sunday.
Yes, that's very true. She just
21 under is wild.
It is when you put it in perspective and when you get out there, it's incredible. Another sidebar. So when we were in Minneapolis, I tried to go to this place called, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Topgolf.
Did you get to go?
Guess how long the wait was?
I don't know.
4 hours.
So you didn't
We
go.
couldn't even get in.
Honestly,
couldn't even get in.
Like you and I need to go down on like an average fucking Tuesday.
I'm in.
I just want to go. Okay, so this is a very random. I know we're 48 minutes into this episode or whatever it is, 40 something minutes in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rant about Topgolf. The only thing I wanted to do when we were coaching on a personal level was do Topgolf. The only thing that happened to my golf clubs was they collected dust in the backseat of my truck or box of my truck for the whole time because we couldn't. Why is Topgolf? Then build more.
Build
If the
more.
weight every time. Remember when we even looked?
Yeah.
The weight was it was atrocious.
It was enormous. And so the one in Minneapolis, it's got 100 stalls. 100 that can have 8 people per stall.
800 golfers there.
So I'm like, okay. Thinking about it, I'm like, maybe, okay, it's a bit prime time or whatever. I was like, 100. Like, we're talking 100.
Yeah.
She like laughs in my face when I'm like, yeah, I got a team in the bus in the parking lot.
I want to go to Topgolf.
And we want to come golf here. And she's like, oh, sweetie, it'll be about 4 hours. I'm like, okay, well, this is clearly the only place people go now is Topgolf. It's
I agree.
unbelievable. But I will say it was spectacular. Like I went in there.
Oh, but you didn't get to do it. You're just talking as like a pure spectator.
A pure spectator. Like I walked in the lobby.
Okay.
And I got to see it. And then the bar. And then
I would expect if you actually get to ever do it and I'm not in your presence that you FaceTime me in.
Oh, without a doubt.
Swing the club with
Without a doubt. I would call you to see if you were within driving distance to see what's up.
Can you get here in 4 hours?
Yeah.
The wait is 4 hours. Can you get here? I did, again, very random thought here, but there's a girl on TikTok who cuts open golf balls and like tells you why or where the center of the golf ball is. And there's this little tool thing that you put it looks like a milkshake cup. You put your golf ball in, there's a button on the side and it spins it. There's a hole and you draw a line on it, and like that is the true center of that golf ball, and every golf ball is different. Anyways, why I bring this up, Topgolf has a chip in it. That's how they obviously count your points and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, she cut one open. I was fascinated.
No way.
Yeah, there's a chip inside the Topgolf ball.
That's crazy.
So I want to know, when like Rory McIlroy goes, does he actually notice the difference between whatever ball he normally uses? And when he hammers on a Topgolf ball, he's like...
That is exactly what they should do. Yeah. That is what they should take a pro. They should, get Lydia on the tee at Topgolf and say, girl, do you notice?
Rookie Brooke, Nelly, don't care who you are.
Doesn't matter.
I just want to know if you know as a pro.
Right.
Do you notice that there's a microchip in that ball?
Yeah.
Because like, sure as shit, you and I don't.
No chance.
No
chance.
I don't even notice if I'm swinging a 9-iron or a driver half the time.
If I go into the bush and I come out with a ball, it's a win.
Yeah. And not poison ivy.
And not poison.
That's
exactly
Addie's the one who swings the waterlogged balls that she collected. Oh, my ankles are already wet. Might as well collect these four more. Wipe the algae off on my pants.
We will have a Beauties golf tournament. There's no doubt about it.
Someday. What a random rabbit hole that was.
What a random. But I do have to say that I'm happy to be sitting by you. This felt really good.
It did.
This felt really good. I was so appreciative of the guests that we had on. And I did, in the other episodes, thank Leah for coming on to the show. But that was phenomenal. Like
all of them.
And Janae and Rob taking the time out. Like that is true love for the sport. Yeah. That is genuine love for the sport and wanting it to grow and wanting it to get better. And we're just lucky.
Along for the ride, man.
Lucky, man.
Yeah, and I think that is one thing. I want to try to talk less about past episodes off the hop of a show, just because I know not everyone listens sequentially, or this might be your first episode, and I don't want to rabbit hole you with things that you're not understanding what we were talking about. But that is one thing that if this is your first episode, or if this is your 40th and you're missing a few, make sure to go back and tune into all of the guests that we have, because here's the thing. So we're approaching a year of this podcast, and I got 2 more to add here. Janae and Rob. In 50 episodes, we've had 22 guests.
Wow. That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
To any of you who are listening to the podcast, who have been on this podcast is growing and possible because you have graciously given us your time and energy.
Yeah.
And for that, we thank you. And if you are just a listener of this podcast and there's some that you've enjoyed more than others, or if you have someone that you want to hear on the show, we know you're not going to love listening to us every day, and not every guest is going to resonate with every human, but we try to share the love around to different sports and different people in different areas of sports, and be as diverse as we can be on this podcast. So we would love to hear, or if you want to come on the show, reach out to Addie or I, or to the Beauty Sports Instagram, because we'd love to have you. But yeah, wild to think, 22 guests, 50 episodes.
That's crazy. That's amazing. And there's so many emotions, even when you said we're approaching a year, like pretty amazing. So, and thanks to everybody who listens, like, cause that is pretty, I'm obviously speechless. So in the last 2 episodes, I've had to point at the camera and say, Cowie, I'm coming for you, girl.
Yep. Yeah.
Cowie, final words.
Okay, quick pause. It's a must do. We have to pause here. We didn't talk about rugby. We forgot. The Women's Rugby World Cup is going on right now over in New Zealand. And if you haven't been watching it, you've been missing out. It has been incredible to watch. It's easy to watch. It's on TSN3. So you have no excuse why you're not watching it. Canada needs our help. They are ranked 3 right now. They are up against number 1 ranked England in the semifinals coming up on Friday. So Friday, November the 4th at 10:30 p.m. Central, so do the math on wherever you live, is the semifinal match against England. Canada needs your help. Let's go and cheer for them. And now let's jump back to our pre-recorded original Cowie's final words.
Cowie, final words.
Final words. It's good to be back. It is good to hit the 50 mark. I am so proud of us for doing it because I think it has been a ride, but we've learned a lot and we're just getting more comfortable every time we do it. Biggest thank you goes to you, whoever you are listening, that this is in your ears. Thank you for being here. This is episode 1. Thanks for joining us. If this is episode 50, thank you, thank you, thank you. The biggest way to help, like we said off the top of the show, 5-star rating and review this podcast. Meet us on Instagram at Beauties Sports Talk, Addie at Addie Miles Abbott, me at Cowie14. If you are in the Morden area, make sure you go and check out Rendezvous Brewery and Tap Room because their beers were delightful today. Addie, my friend, it is good to be back.
Thank you all, and we will see you next week.